Hey guys, how's everybody doing? With Evil Dead Rise finally coming out tomorrow, here's the conclusion to my review series on the Evil Dead with Ash versus the Evil Dead Season 3. Starting off with my positives on Ash versus the Evil Dead Season 3 is the practical effects that they use. Now, one of my negatives on the first season of Ash vs. the Evil Dead season 1 is that they used a bunch of CGI and it always bothered me. Every time I would watch it, I would see the CGI and I would go, "Oh dear lord, what are they doing here?" But then in season 2, they brought it back a little bit, but they still used it. But if I'm not mistaken, I only saw the CGI used once or twice in this entire season, which is really good. I'm glad they went more practical. They brought it back to that old Evil Dead that we all know and love, where it being gory and getting blood splashed all over. That they did that in the other two seasons, but in this one they really bring it back with the practical effects, and I love seeing that. I don't like CGI, but the CGI that they use in the show, I can forgive it because, like I said, that the kind of like weird effects in the Evil Dead series kind of made it its charm. But I always hate seeing CGI, and I'm glad that they just pretty much went full practical when they made this season. About to say may sound confusing to some people, but I'll try and sum it up. This season doesn't feel full Evil Dead to me. Like there's different things here and there where they kind of make it darker, where it kind of makes it kind of feel like a alien show in a way. Because at like the very end of the show, we get like this weird monster thing that the Dark Ones summon. Like the entire scene is like not letting the Dark Ones get this book, or else like hell will ensue. And then there's like this big giant monster thing, and it didn't feel like Evil Dead to me. It felt more like an alien type show. But I liked that. It was something different and something we would probably never see ever again. That was also CGI, but it didn't look bad, honestly. But I do kind of like to see that they did something different with the show. Like I said, with that big monster thing, but I feel that the fact that they did something new and not just the same thing, I enjoyed it. It may not work for some people, but for me, and I like seeing something different for every new movie or show or anything like that. They did that here, and I dug it. Throughout this whole season too, where Ash finds out he has a daughter in this season, but when I first watched it, I thought that was really really stupid. But in this, throughout the entire show, Ruby, who comes back, she's summoning Deadites again, but she's also trying to make Ash look bad in front of her daughter, in front of his daughter, so he doesn't look like a good person to really take care of her. And apparently, she was also a counselor at this high school that she's been there for 2 years, which is bullshit. Oh, excuse me. But the entire show is where Brandy starts to like Ash, but at the same time, evil starts to come back and trying to make him look bad in front of her, which I like. Like this part where he'll cut off someone's head, but then when she comes in, they look normal. He's like, "Oh, this is not what it looks like." But Brandy doesn't believe him and just leaves and all that. It does get repetitive over time, but I did like seeing that where Ash starts to slowly kind of get Brandy to understand and actually believe him, but then a Deadeye comes in and he chops her head off, and then she walks in the room, makes him look bad, and then she doesn't believe him again. They continue that throughout the show. Like I said, it gets repetitive, but it's something different. Like I said, it's nothing that we haven't really seen before. They kind of did that in season 2, where where Ash was kind of protecting them, but the city just thought he was crazy. And they do that with Brandy, which is like I said, it's different, but it also kind of feels new, and I like it. Where Brandy, she doesn't know what's going on. Like her mom even told her that her dad was a crackhead and went to jail. What? Little dancing, I'm shaking my butt. It's also kind of an issue that I kind of didn't really care for, but I didn't really want to talk about because I might get in trouble, and at the same time, I kind of built up into it. And that's that this season kind of builds up Pablo and Kelly's love more in this season, where apparently Kelly left because to do something, or they don't really explore it much in this. But then she comes back, and Pablo's kind of upset that she left and all that, and then they kind of start to get hooked up. You kind of see sexual tension there, but at the same time, they just don't feel into each other and all that, which and then in season 1 and 2 they try to explore that, but I didn't really feel any connection. In season 1 I felt it, but in season 2 they kinda brought it down a little bit and they didn't really explore it. But in this one, they actually kind of explore it more where they kind of try to get you hooked on the relationship, kind of make you kind of like support them and all that. And then when they finally kiss, you actually get excitement. I remember when I first watched it, I was like, yes, I knew it was gonna happen, but fuck yeah. Why do I live with such a noisy child? Why is she sound like she's being stabbed with a knife? The season was pretty dark. Like, not in like just kind of like lenses are dark, but the season's pretty dark. They kind of bring back their horror moments. I remember when I first watched this, I thought this season was too goofy. Like I thought season 2 wasn't goofy at one point, and then when I watched this, I was like, oh, this one's way too goofy. There are some goofy moments here and there. That's kind of been an issue with like kind of this entire series and this entire movie series and all that. Did I seriously just? Yeah, no, I didn't forget. This is pretty dark where they bring back the horror elements. Like there's parts where Deadites like show up and they like legit like rip people apart and all that. And I'm watching, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is dark. Like there's parts where they kind of go into this rift thing and this like these chosen like these people who know Ash the chosen one to defeat all the demons and all that. They get down on one knee like knights. It's kind of weird. He's like, no, stop doing that. There's this one part where they go to the rift because they're there to help Ash defeat the evil. This one guy goes in to see what it is, but he comes back. He's like this weird monster thing, and he starts to like kind of like all the people starts to bring them and form them together, like to become one big monster. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go change my underwear. There's one part, if I'm not mistaken, he grabs one of his friends. He kind of grabs them, like rips their head off, and then puts it on him to like rose on him. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that happens. I do remember he takes one of his like he takes like his friends and like puts them together except for like the one lady in the group. It's weird, but it's horror that I missed from The Evil Dead. Speaking of dark, I like seeing the dark ones in this one. We've always been hearing about them throughout the series that the dark ones are the ones that wrote the Necronomicon, and Ruby's always been a dark one, which is an issue I have with the season 1. Go watch it if you haven't already. If you haven't, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? Been hearing about these dark ones throughout this entire series that they are supposedly the ones that wrote the Necronomicon. If they get a hold of the Necronomicon again and they get a hold of the lost pages, hell will ensue. And we finally get to see the dark ones, and they just downright kill Ruby like she's nothing. Like they turn her pretty much into glass, where they get like a hold of Ruby's just like you will all suffer the same fate again, but then they kind of like suck up her soul or something, and then she just falls and like breaks like glass. And I was like, okay, they killed her like she was nothing. And I thought she was immortal. But she was. Like I said, they just treat her like nothing, and they're also kind of scary in this, where they're kind of walking around and saying like these weird passages. Like there's this part where Pablo tries to go get the Necronomicon from him, but they just like push him aside like he's nothing. They just kind of like do that, and they're just like, what? I'm sorry. But I like seeing the dark ones in this. We've always been hearing about them. We never really got to see what they look like. We only got to see them in kind of like animations during like these weird scenes in the show where it's kind of like just animation, but we never got to see them in live action. They also look pretty cool. Where they kind of look like like gods in a way. Kind of they have like the weird hood and they kind of like speak in different languages. It kind of reminded me of kind of like northern gods in a way, and I don't really know why. Now on to my mixed aspects. This is probably not going to surprise anyone. The comedy. There are some moments here and there that I laughed at. There are some good moments here where like I spent this the one part that really got me to laugh was when well like I said when the dark ones were sucking up Ruby's soul. Ash was just standing there and he's like, "Oh, I'm Ruby, I'm melting. Fuck off, bitch." That just really got a laugh out of me. Like I laughed like really hard when that happened. I was like, "Up, ah, classic Bruce Campbell. Ah, there's the man we all know and love." But at the same time, there are moments here and there where where the comedy kind of kills the tension. But that's just Evil Dead, and I can forgive it for that. But there are some moments where it kind of just feels forced. And like I said, when I first watched this, I thought this was the goofiest season. But after watching this entire series, like binge watching it, season 2 is way more goofy in this, and that's probably why it's in my mixed. So I want to talk about the character Brandy in my mixed aspects. Now, at the beginning of the show, I didn't like her very much. I thought she was kind of annoying, where we get it. your mom just died, but she blames like Ash for it when he really did nothing when he was kind of protecting her. But at the same time, I get it. Like he was never around, and she didn't even know that she even had a dad. Ash didn't even know he had a kid. I can forgive her for that. But then we start to like her. I started to like her throughout, and then she becomes an asshole again, where she thinks that Ash is killing everyone because Ruby kind of had like a baby Ash, and then kind of grew to look exactly like Ash, and then went on a killing spree to make Ash look bad, and then Ruby looked good. But then Brandy tried to kill him, but couldn't do it. Then Ruby killed her, and then Brandy forgave him again, and started to like her. We started to like her again. But I don't know, I don't know what they were doing with this character. Like, there's a part where we kind of hate her throughout the first half of the season, but then we slowly start to like her, and we hate her again, but then we like her at the end of the show. It's weird. I enjoy the character for what they tried to do with her, but at the same time, she wasn't very likable at first, but I started to like her, but she kind of feels out of place in the show. Like I like her and I would like to see her return with this franchise with Bruce Campbell again, but I don't think we would ever get that. Now on to my negatives. Bringing Ruby back. I don't know why they brought her back. I get it. That's with season 2 there was like two different Rubies where they time traveled back to the 80s, and there was also 80s Ruby and modern Ruby and all that. I get it. Even at season 2 they hinted that she was going to come back, but I was like, why do we need her back? You can honestly like cut her out and like kind of make the dark ones kind of like the main villain of this entire season. It wouldn't make a difference. Ruby does have her highlights in the show, mainly when she fights Chrissy and kills her for a bit. But other than that, I don't know why they decided to bring her back. She's kind of like the big bad throughout this like entire show. I want to see Deadites, not a freaking dark one that's immortal. Now, as circumstances, this could be a nitpick, but at the same time, I don't understand why they put this in here. There's a part where Ash's dad comes back to life because Ruby resurrects him and he becomes evil, tries to kill Ash, but he kills him again. But then the ghost dad shows up and then shows him the past like a wonderful life and shows that there's a cellar and there's a guy there who tried to give him the lost pages of the Necronomicon. And I don't know why that's there. There are some good moments there where Ash was kind of being grabbed by demons, and then he's like, "Dad, help me." And try to grab him. He's like, "I'm a ghost, dipshit." And that was a pretty good moment too. But I don't know why that was there. If anything, just cut that entire sequence out and it wouldn't make a difference. Have Ash find out about himself. Have him being the in the hardware and like his hardware shop where he works is where he finds about the cellar. Have him move like the shelf that was blocking and see that there's like a door frame there, but rip it off and see there's a basement down there. Write that in. I get it. It's Evil Dead. It's not it. This series has never really taken itself seriously after Evil Dead 2, but why are you trying to mimic A Wonderful Life? I get it, it's Evil Dead, but we don't really need that. All in all, guys, I really enjoy this season. This is a step up from season 2, and I really hope to God that we will get that animated series with Bruce Campbell voice acting for Ash again. And I really hope, if we do get it, I really hope it's a continuation after the end of season 3, because I'm still baffled that the fact that we did not get season 4, because the way this season ended, it left me wanting more, and we never got it. And it's hard for me to watch this season and knowing how it's going to end, and it pisses me off that we never got a follow-up to it to answer the questions and to have a follow-up to this season. Thanks, Stars, for canceling this awesome show. This is definitely a season where I would recommend that you go out and buy it. And if you do like this season, you will be pretty pissed off on how this season will end. What do you guys think of Ash vs. the Evil Dead Season 3? Do you enjoy this season? Do you not like this season? Is this your favorite season? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you loved it, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos. But until my next video, take care.